Hi, this is Steve. Welcome back to my channel, Scale Model Kit Review. I am back with another installment of the Build the Millennium Falcon by FanHome. Now, this is a 3-foot replica, just like the one filmed in The Empire Strikes Back. It's a wonderful kit. Head over to FanHome today and sign up for it while you can. It may not be available for long, so do it while you can. I highly suggest it. So, without further ado, let's get started. Welcome back to another installment of the Build the Millennium Falcon by FanHome. I am on pack number 2, stages 3 through 6, and you can see here are the magazines right there. Let's go ahead and look at the parts that came with pack number 2. Stage 3, internal parts for the cockpit. Stage 4, the frames for the Falcon. Stage 5, the cockpit neck. Stage 6, the cockpit frames and some of the greebly parts for that. Let's get started on stage 3. Let's look at the magazine real quick here for stage 3. Incom T-65 X-Wing Starfighter. Great article on that. Wonderful there. And the rear cockpit control panels. They talk about what was actually, filmed in the studio and what was found on the miniature itself. There's a big difference there. And you can see the back bulkhead displays and controls, the nav computer and such. Then what we received in this stage, our next parts. We're going to start assembling the cockpit, seats and levers. A lot of folks will paint the chairs more of a brown tannish color. I may do that. We'll see here. Let me go ahead and get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 3, and if it doesn't say on the front here it is stage 3, but if you go to the back where the code is here, it will tell you it's a 003 in that code. So let's go ahead and take this out and get a closer look. Okay, and here's those parts. We received an outer panel, and that's made of plastic. Very nice there. It's already weathered and washed. We received a doorway for the aft bulkhead along with decal for that. Control columns are the steering wheels and the levers, the rear seats and the front seats. And everything is made of plastic except for the control columns. They are metal. It's a white metal. It's very nice. Very impressive there. Along with the levers, they are also made of metal. First thing I do is I'll apply the decal to the doorway. Just peel that back here and insert that in all the way to the top and press that down. Looks great. And bring over the aft bulkhead. We're just going to slide that in place. Perfect. That's how that looks there. Now we'll bring over the floor for the cockpit, and we're going to put in our chairs. We're going to put the back chairs in first. And they just press fit. And put in the front chairs. I decided I'm not going to paint mine. There we go. And they just press fit also. That's how they look. That looks great. Now we have these levers. You can see how that looks. And they're simply going to get slid in to these little holes on each side, one on each side. It's good there. And the next one. Perfect. And you may want to super glue those in place along with the control columns. And I'm going to take a little bit of super glue and I'm going to put it on here. Both sides. We'll put those levers in this time. One like that. And just like that, both levers are in. Take the control columns. We're going to put those in also. I put a little super glue on those. Here we go. And just making sure that they're straight. That's how they look. I'm going to put a little super glue on the seats. Here's one. And I'm super gluing them because I don't want them to come apart once they're in place. They won't come apart and they're super glued in place, and that's what that looks like there. Now I'll go ahead and put the instrument panel on. And I'm not going to super glue it just yet, but we'll just make sure that goes in like it's supposed to into the pins. And that completes stage 3. Looks great. Put in the back seats, front seats, control columns, the levers. That's how they look there. Aft bulkhead, the door, instrument panel. That looks great. Let's go ahead and get started on stage 4. Let's get started on stage 4 for Build the Millennium Falcon, and we're going to be working on the Falcon hull frame and plating. Look at the magazine here real quick, another continuation article for the X-Wing. And great photographs here, wonderful reading, very easy to read. A lot of research done here from Star Wars, very nice. Then it talks about our layered structure of the hull parts. They look very good, interlocking edges and such. And then they talk about our parts that we received with this and we'll be assembling in this stage. And we're going to complete the cockpit console, so we have a part for that. Then the extending the hull frames, so we're going to add some parts to that. Should be pretty easy to do. Add another part to the hull plating. And that's what that looks like. Let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 4. Let's take this out and get a closer look. Here's a close-up of those parts, and this is some of the hull frames. Very nice there. And the front of the cockpit instrument panel. And the attachment hardware for the frames. And first thing I have to do is I have to install this part here first. And it looks like it goes in that direction there with the round part on the bottom. So it's just going to snap in place. Pressure fit. Perfect. That's how that looks there. Now let's go ahead and get started on the hull plating. Next we'll bring over the hull frames that we built in the previous pack. And this part here, we have a longer side versus a short side. And I have this turned upside down. We're going to mount the next bracket, the frame, just like that. On there, we're going to be putting in 4 screws total. Now, I talked about this before, but these parts are already pre-threaded, so when you put the screws in, the threads are already there. Okay, somebody asked me about that, and that's what I mean by already threaded, meaning when I put the screws in, there's no oil or anything like that required because the threads are already there. I'm not having to dig into threads like you see on most part work kits, so the threads are already there, no oil is required. So we'll just line this up and get the screws going. And you may have to loosen up some of these other brackets that this screws into so you can get your screws lined up in there. Just kind of leave them all loose for now until you get them all started. There we go. So I should be able to tighten at least these 4 down right here. And these 3 here. And these last 2 here should be tight. Good. So that bracket is installed now. That's what that looks like. Now we'll install the other bracket. And the other bracket will get mounted, it looks like, just like that. Looks good. So, turn this over. And we're going to put 4 screws in, and we're going to put another bracket on the front. Do this one in the corner first. These next 2. It's good there. And then we put the bracket on the front here. Just like that. Put 2 screws into it. There you go. That looks good there. Perfect. Next we'll go ahead and install the hull plating on this now. It's ready to go, and it has 8 alignment tabs that this lines up to, and you can pretty much see that. Once they're lined up, turn it over, and we're going to put in our screws. The screws that go in have a flange on them. They're silver screws. Be putting 8 of them in. And be careful you don't over tighten these screws as you put them in. This is the last one here of the 8 screws I'm going in. They cut into the plastic very well, so once they're snug, that's all you need to do. And just verify that your plating panel is fully engaged on your frame, which it is here, and you can see that's how that looks. Looks very nice. And they say we can go ahead and test fit the other panel we received with this pack, and it's simply just going to go down on top of like that. We're not going to fix it yet, but that's what that looks like there. Looks great. So that completes stage number 4. Fantastic, I think. This is really cool to build. I'm having a blast doing this one. So let's head over and do stage number 5. Stage 5. Let's get rolling with this. Looks fantastic so far. I love this. Now remember, this is only available from FanHome, so do yourself a favor and subscribe to this. It's fantastic. Corellian Engineering Corporation. the makers of the Millennium Falcon, of course. And we have Corvette class, right? That's wonderful there. And I have a resin kit of that, so I'm going to be building that on my channel here soon. Modular configuration, as they say. Different pieces and parts can go on. That's really cool. I mean, this magazine is full of magnificent articles and stuff I never knew about with Star Wars. And of course, our next parts. The first electronic component, a lighting panel, instruments fitting the light panel, and the cockpit instruments. So let me get the parts. And here the passage tube also, that's what that's called, the real large passage tube. And we'll talk about the movie lighting effects there. So let me get the parts, I'll be right back. Here's the parts for stage 5. Let's get a closer look at these parts. Here's the parts for stage 5. And here's the passage tube. Blast marks on there already created. Very nice there. The other side, very nice. The details are superb, I think. And first set of LEDs. This is our lighting panel. And a couple of instrument brackets. These are the side consoles. Very nice there. Made of plastic. We take our lighting panel here with the LEDs on it. We're going to face that towards the bulkhead, and we have 2 alignment tabs that this goes down on, just like that. And we're going to put our screw into this. It does have a flange on it. Screw that down. Perfect. That's how that looks there, both sides. Okay, now we'll go ahead and put our side consoles in, and you may want to go ahead and enhance your panels by picking out some of the colors. And this panel right here snaps in on this side. Just like that. And then the other panel on the other side. And that's how that looks there. Just to give you a closer view, that's what they look like. Very nice. And here's the passage tube. And of course, they're just going to go together. There's alignment tabs that they smash down up against each other just like that. I'm not going to do that at this point. They really don't want us to assemble it, but we can do some test fitting if we like. We can also test fit the cockpit to this. So what they say is take this, insert that, okay, take this and insert that, just like that, into there, and then we can put the top piece on it just to see how it kind of looks. But they definitely don't want us to assemble this all the way. Just to kind of give you an idea. I'm not going to put it together, but that's how that will insert in there, and that's what that looks like. That completes stage number 5. That's what that looks like. Not going to make it permanent. Matter of fact, I'm just going to go ahead and take it apart right now. So we'll be set for the next stage, stage number 6. Let's look at stage 6, which is the final stage for pack 2. And this is the magazine here, a key ship in the fight against the Empire. Along with that, Great articles there. The hologram table. That was really cool, I thought. And then, of course, they talk about our next parts. We don't do a whole lot of assembling here. We do some test fitting of stuff. And I'm going to be doing very limited amount of that with this because we actually don't put everything together until stage 7. So stuff will be on hold until then. But we can assemble the cockpit shell and, you know, the window framing and all that. I think we can do some of that at this point. Then we'll do some instrument panel details. We'll put on another decal, attaching the control levers on the front instrument panel itself, and then test fitting the cockpit assembly. But like I said, we won't be doing much there. They do talk about kit bashing plant-on parts, the Greeblies, as they talk about. A lot of them came from Tamiya model kits, the Tyrrell car above. So that's very cool there. You have a lot of Tamiya kits planted on the outside of this Millennium Falcon. Let me get the parts. I'll be right back. Here's parts for stage 6. Let's get a closer look. Lots of parts here. We have those Greebly parts that will get planted on the outside of the kit. The window frames, very nice there. Front of the window frame. The bottom of the cockpit area. Overhead area inside the cockpit. The ring. The decals. And the support area for the seats where your game table is. Okay, let's get started. Here's those Greeblies we'll be using a little bit later, so I'll put these away for safekeeping. And first thing we do is we'll assemble the cockpit window assembly. I'm not going to glue anything here because I believe there was an issue with this framing, and I'm not sure if it's been fixed right now with this issue. So talk more about that later, but that's what that looks like there. Take the ring and we'll put that on it. Goes together like a little puzzle there. There we go. You want to have that notch on top of your window frame, just like that. That's what that looks like. And then lastly, we line up the window frame up front, just like that. There we go. And I hate to glue anything together because there was an issue with the window framing, and I'm not sure if it's been fixed with this or not. If anybody knows, put a comment down below. That's what that looks like there. Then of course that will mount to this, just to give it a test fit. It's all assembled. It took a little coaxing to get everything together. Nothing is glued together there, but you can see how that looks. It looks fantastic. And this is just a test fit of everything. That's what that looks like. And that's what that looks like. Let's do the next part. Next, I'm going to assemble the 3 rear instrument panels, and these are the 3 parts for the panel. This is the upper part here. It's made of plastic, along with the 2 side ones here, as you can see, and they'll butt up against it, the panel, just like that. And then the decals will be applied, just like they're shown. Just like they're shown, and they'll be going overhead. I'll be right back and I'll show you what I did. Here's the overhead instrument panel, and note that you have the 2 grooves running along the top there, and you want to make sure that this yellow panel on that decal is on the right side and it's closest to those grooves. And then on the other one you have these dotted lines that are on the panel, and then You install your bottom panels there, just like that, and just like that. And that's how that looks. That completes that portion of this stage. We'll do our control levers next. We'll cut these off carefully. And insert those into the panel. Here's a close-up of the levers installed. 3 curved levers on top, the straight lever down below. I did super glue those in place. Let's put all this together. Take the cockpit and we're going to put that down inside here, inside the tube, just like that. You see how it lines up down there on the bottom. And then we're going to take our it goes like that. Lines up like that inside. Then we'll put our top on, just to get everything lined up here the way it should be. And this is just going to be a test fit. That looks good there. Everything lined up. That looks great. Go. The bottom of the ring, there's an alignment tab. Goes on the bottom. Line that up. Insert that all around. There we go. A little bit of coaxing there, a little squeezing, but that's good. And then lastly, line that up, insert that in just like that, perfect. And then our front part of the canopy lines up, perfect. Wow, that really looks good. And like I said, nothing is glued here, just a test fit of everything. But that's how the cockpit looks. It looks fantastic. Remember, there's no windows in the canopy frames because they didn't have them on the studio model. And that's what that looks like. Great. So that's all we do with stage 6. I'll be right back. And that completes pack 2. Had a blast building this. We did a lot of test fitting here of the cockpit. Everything seems to go together very nicely. And nothing's glued. That's fine. We'll be doing some final assembly in the next pack. But that's what it looks like so far. I'm very pleased with it. And the framing so far is complete there. Did a lot with that. That was a lot of fun. So if you haven't done so already, head over to FanHome and check out this model. Subscribe to it. I highly recommend it. It's a fantastic build and I'm having a blast doing it so far. If you like my content, please subscribe to my channel and smash that like button. Happy modeling, everybody, and take care.